Okay, we'll get into that. But they'll say that it's prosperity for their country. So one would then assume that when we move to an AI leader, the objective would be the same, the directive would be the same, make our country prosperous.
Correct.
And I think that's the AI that people would vote for, potentially. I think they'd say, we want to be prosperous.
What do you think would make America more prosperous? To spend $1 trillion on war every year, or to spend $1 trillion on education and healthcare and helping the poor and homelessness?
It's complex because I think it would make America more prosperous to take care of everybody, and they have the luxury of doing that because they are
the most powerful
nation in the world.
No, that's not true. The reason, so you see, all war has two objectives. One is to make money for the war machine, and the other is deterrence. Okay, and 9 super nuclear powers around the world is enough deterrence. So any war between America and China will go through a long phase of destroying wealth by exploding bombs and killing humans for the first objective to happen. Okay? And then eventually, if it really comes to deterrence, it's the nuclear bombs, or now in the age of AI, biological, manufactured viruses or whatever, these super weapons, this is the only thing that you need. So for China to have nuclear bombs, not as many as the US, is enough for China to say, don't F with me. And this seems, I do not know, I'm not in President Xi's mind. I'm not in President Trump's mind. It's very difficult to navigate what he's thinking about. But the truth is that the Chinese line is, for the last 30 years, you spent so much on war while we spent on industrial infrastructure. And that's the reason we are now by far the largest nation on the planet, even though the West will lie and say America's bigger. America's bigger in dollars. Okay, with purchasing power parity, this is very equivalent. Okay, now when you really understand that, you understand that prosperity is not about destruction. That's by definition the reality. Prosperity is, can I invest in my people and make sure that my people stay safe? And to make sure my people are safe, you just wave the flag and say, if you F with me, I have nuclear deterrence, or I have other forms of deterrence. But you don't have to. Deterrence, by definition, does not mean that you send soldiers to die.
I guess the question I was trying to answer is when we have these AI leaders and we tell our AI leaders to aim for prosperity, won't they just end up playing the same games of, okay, prosperity equals a bigger economy, it equals more money, more wealth for us. And the way to attain that in a zero-sum world where there's only a certain amount of wealth is to accumulate it.
So why don't you search for the meaning of prosperity?
It's
not what you just described.
I don't even know what the bloody word means. What is the meaning of prosperity? The meaning of prosperity is a state of thriving success and good fortune, especially in terms of wealth, health, and overall well-being.
Good.
Economic, health, social, emotional.
Good.
So
true prosperity is to have that for everyone on earth. So if you want to maximize prosperity, you have that for everyone on earth.
Do you know where I think an AI leader works? Is if we had an AI leader of the world and we directed it to say...
And that absolutely is going to be what happens.
Prosperity for the whole world.
No, but this is really an interesting question. So one of my predictions, which people really rarely speak about, is that we believe we will end up with competing AIs.
Yeah.
I believe we will end up with one brain.
Okay. So you understand the argument I was making a second ago. It's
100%.
From the position of lots of different countries all having their own AI leader. We're going to be back in the same place of greed.
Yeah.
But if the world had one AI leader and it was given the directive of make us prosperous and save the planet, the polar bears would be fine.
100%. And that's what I've been advocating for a year and a half now. I was saying we need the CERN of AI.
What does that mean?
Like the particle accelerator where the entire world, combined their efforts to discover and understand physics, no competition, okay? Mutually assured prosperity. I'm asking the world, I'm asking governments like Abu Dhabi or Saudi, which seem to be, the second, some of the largest AI infrastructures in the world. I'm saying, please host all of the AI scientists in the world to come here and build AI for the world. And you have to understand, we're holding on to a capitalist system that will collapse sooner or later. Okay, so we might as well collapse it with our own hands.
I think we found the solution, Mo.
I think it's actually really, really possible.
I can't, I can't refute the idea that if we had an AI that was responsible and governed the whole world, and we gave it the directive of making humans prosperous, healthy, and happy, as long as that directive was clear.
Yeah.
Because there's always bloody unintended consequences. We might say.
So the only challenge you're going to meet is all of those who today are trillionaires or massively powerful or dictators or whatever. Okay, how do you convince those to give up their power? How do you convince those that, hey, by the way, any car you want another yacht, we'll get you another yacht. We'll just give you anything you want. Can you please stop harming others? There is no need for arbitrage anymore. There's no need for others to lose for the capitalists to win.
Okay. And in such a world where there was an AI leader and it was given the directive of making us prosperous as a whole world, the billionaire that owns the yacht would have to give it up?
No. Give them more yachts.
Okay.
It costs nothing to make yachts when robots are making everything. So the complexity of this is so interesting. A world where it costs nothing to make everything.
Because energy is abundant and
energy
robots.
is abundant because every problem is solved with enormous IQ, okay? Because manufacturing is done through nanophysics, not through components, okay? Because mechanics are robotic, so you drive your car in, a robot looks at it and fixes it, costs you a few cents of energy that are actually for free as well. Imagine a world where intelligence creates everything. That world, literally, every human has anything they ask for. But we're not going to choose that world.
Why?
Right? Imagine you're in a world, and really this is a very interesting thought experiment. Imagine that UBI became very expensive, universal basic income. So governments decided, we're going to put everyone in a 1 by 3 meters room. Okay, we're going to give them a headset and a sedative, right? And we're going to let them sleep. Every night, they'll sleep for 23 hours, and we're going to get them to live an entire lifetime. They, in that virtual world at the speed of your brain when you're asleep, you're going to have a life where you date Scarlett Johansson, and then another life where you're Nefertiti, and then another life where you're a donkey. Right? Reincarnation truly in the virtual world. And then, I get another life when I date Hannah again and I, enjoy that life tremendously. And basically the cost of all of this is zero. You wake up for 1 hour, you walk around, you move your blood, you eat something or you don't, and then you put the headset again and live again. Is that unthinkable? It's creepy compared to this life, but it's very, very doable.
What, that we just live in headsets?
Do you know if you're not?
I don't know if I'm not, no.
Yeah. You have no idea if you're not. I mean, every experience you've ever had in life was an electrical signal in your brain. Okay? Now ask yourself, if we can create that in the virtual world, it wouldn't be a bad thing if I can create it in the physical world.
Maybe we already did, no?
My theory is 98% we have, but that's a hypothesis, that's not science.
What, you think that?
100, yeah.
You think we already created that and this is it?
I think this is it, yeah. Think of the uncertainty principle of quantum physics, right? What you observe collapses the wave function and gets rendered into reality. Correct?
I don't know anything about physics, so you're going to...
So quantum physics basically tells you that everything exists in superposition, right? So every subatomic particle that ever existed has the chance to exist anywhere at any point in time. And then when it's observed by an observer, it collapses and becomes that. Okay? Very interesting principle, exactly how video games are. In video games, you have the entire game world on the hard drive of your console. The player turns right, that part of the game world is rendered, the rest is in superposition.
Supposition meaning?
Superposition means it's available to be rendered, but you have to observe it. The player has to turn to the other side and see it. Okay? I mean, think about the truth of physics, the truth of the fact that this is entirely empty space. These are tiny, tiny, tiny. I think, almost nothing in terms of mass, but connected with, enough energy so that my finger cannot go through my hand. But even when I hit this...
Your hand against your finger.
Yeah. When I hit my hand against my finger, that sensation is felt in my brain. It's an electrical signal that went through the wires. There's absolutely no way to differentiate that from a signal that can come to you through a Neuralink kind of interface, a computer-brain interface, a CBI, right? So a lot of those things are very, very, very possible. But the truth is, most of the world is not physical. Most of the world happens inside our imagination, our processors.
And I guess it doesn't really matter to our reality.
It doesn't at all. So this is the interesting bit. The interesting bit is it doesn't at all.
Because we still, if this is a video game, we live with your consequence.
This is your subjective experience of it.
Yeah, and there's consequence in this. I don't like pain.
Correct.
And I like having orgasms. It's like
and you're playing by the rule of the game.
Yeah.
Right? And it's quite interesting. And going back to a conversation we should have, it's the interesting bit is, if I'm not the avatar, if I'm not this physical form, if I'm the consciousness wearing the headset, what should I invest in? Should I invest in this video game, this level? Or should I invest in the real avatar, in the real me? And not the avatar, but the consciousness, if you want, spirit, if you're religious.
How would I invest in the consciousness or the God or the spirit or whatever? How would I? In the same way that if I was playing Grand Theft Auto, the video game, the character in the game couldn't invest in me holding the controller.
Yes, but you can invest in yourself holding the controller.
Oh, okay. So you're saying that Mo Gawdat is in fact consciousness. And so how would consciousness invest in itself?
By becoming more aware.
Of its consciousness.
Yeah, so real video gamers don't want to win the level. Real video gamers don't want to finish the level. Okay? Real video gamers have one objective and one objective only, which is to become better gamers. So you know how serious I am about, I play Halo, I'm 2 of every million players can beat me. That's what I rank, right? For my age, phenomena. Hey, anyone, right? But seriously, and that's because I don't play. I mean, I practice 45 minutes a day, 4 times a week when I'm not traveling. And I practice with one single objective, which is to become a better gamer. I don't care which shot it is. I don't care what happens in the game. I'm entirely trying to get my reflexes and my flow to become better at this, right? So I want to become a better gamer. That basically means I want to observe the game, question the game, reflect on the game, reflect on my own skills, reflect on my own beliefs, reflect on my understanding of things, right? And that's how the consciousness invests in the consciousness, not the avatar. Because then if you're that gamer, the next avatar is easy for you. The next level of the game is easy for you, just because you became a better gamer.
Okay, so you think that consciousness is using us as a vessel to improve? If
the hypothesis is true, it's just a hypothesis. We don't know if it's true. But if this truly is a simulation, then if you take the religious definition of God puts some of his soul in every human, and then you become alive, you become conscious. Okay, You don't want to be religious, you can say universal consciousness is spinning off parts of itself to have multiple experiences and interact and compete and combat and love and
understand.
And then refine.
I had a physicist say this to me the other day, actually, so it's quite front of mind, this idea that consciousness is using us as vessels to better understand itself and basically using our eyes to observe itself and understand, which is quite a...
So if you take some of the most interesting religious definitions of heaven and hell, for example, right? Where basically heaven is whatever you wish for, you get, right? That's the power of God. Whatever you wish for, you get. And so if you really go into the depths of that definition, it basically means that this drop of consciousness that became you returned back to the source, and the source can create anything that it wants to create. So that's your heaven, right? And interestingly, if that return is done by separating your good from your evil so that the source comes back more refined, that's exactly, consciousness splitting off bits of itself to experience and then elevate all of us, elevate the universal consciousness. All hypotheses, please, none of that is provable by science, but it's a very interesting thought experiment. And, a lot of AI scientists will tell you that what we've seen in technology is that if it's possible, it's likely going to happen. If it's possible to miniaturize something to fit into a mobile phone, then sooner or later in technology, we will get there. And if you ask me, believe it or not, it's the most humane way of handling UBI.
What do you mean?
The most humane way, for us to live on a universal basic income, and people like you struggle with not being able to build businesses, is to give you a virtual headset and let you build as many businesses as you want. Level after level after level after level after level, night after night. Keep you alive. That's very, very respectful and human. Okay? And by the way, even more humane is don't force anyone to do it. There might be a few of us still roaming the jungles. But for most of us, we'll go like, man, someone like me, when I'm 70 and, my back is hurting and my feet are hurting, and I'm going to go like, yeah, give me 5 more years of this. Why not? It's weird, really. The number of questions that this new environment throws out. The less humane thing, by the way, just so that we close on a grumpy, is just start enough wars to reduce UBI. And you have to imagine that if the world is governed by a superpower, deep state type thing, that they may want to consider that. The eaters.
What shall I do about it?
About
everything you've said.
Well, I still believe that this world we live in requires 4 skills. One skill is what I call the tool for all of us to learn AI, to connect to AI, to really get close to AI, to expose ourselves to AI so that AI knows the good side of humanity. Okay? The second is what I call the connection, right? So I believe that the biggest skill that humanity will benefit from in the next 10 years is human connection. It's the ability to learn to love genuinely. It's the ability to learn to have compassion to others. It's the ability to connect to people. If you want to stay in business, I believe that not the smartest people, but the people that connect most to people are going to have jobs going forward. And the third is what I call truth, the T. The third T is truth, because we live in a world where all of the gullible cheerleaders are being lied to all the time. So I encourage people to question everything. Every word that I said today is stupid. Fourth one, which is very important, is to magnify ethics so that the AI learns what it's like to be human.
What should I do?
I love you so much, man. You're such a good friend. You're 32, 33 now?
32, yeah.
Yeah, you still are fooled by the many, many years you have to live.
I'm fooled by the many years I have to live.
Yeah, you don't have many years to live, not in this capacity. This world, as it is going to be redefined. So live the F out of it.
How is it going to be redefined?
Everything's going to change. Economics are going to change. Work is going to change. Human connection is going to change.
So what should I do?
Love your girlfriend. Spend more time living. Find compassion and connection to more people. Be more in nature.
And in 30 years' time, when I'm 62, how do you think my life is going to look differently and be different?
Either Star Trek or Star Wars.